Our world continues to change and push us in ways we have not been challenged before. On this show, we talk about these challenges, how to be aware of them, face them, and overcome them in your life. This is David Waldas, creator of the Aligned Living System.
And I'm Nick Musica, Aligned Living Coach. Welcome to the Aligned Living System podcast.
Welcome to the Aligned Living System podcast. This is David Waldas here with Nick Musica. Today's episode is on prioritizing self-care. And it's really just a message to ourselves that we're using this platform to talk to you about, to remind ourselves to prioritize self-care. And so thank you for being there for us as we share with you why it's so important to do what we haven't been doing. I mean that somewhat jokingly, but it's we were Nick and I were just talking, as of course we always do before we record, and just about the idea of, while we're taking care of ourselves to some degree, what does it mean when we're really prioritizing self-care? And when we have a lot of demands on us, right now I'm in the middle of a move. I'm in a hotel in Thousand Oaks, Westlake Village, California, looking for a place to move into and have all my stuff in a moving truck. And what does it look like to make that the urgency, right? To find the place, to get the truck unloaded, to or is it going into storage temporarily to find the right place? But in the midst of that, there's of course there's this push to spend every moment possible trying to figure that out. And what does it look like to stop in the middle of that kind of push and the intensity of it and the pressure of it, to make sure that we're playing, to make sure that we're exercising, to make sure that we're eating right? And it was funny, I was laughing at myself when we got here. My van had broken down when I was in town last time, and I had to leave it in the shop here. And so I was like, oh, I got to get some exercise. So my self-care became running from the hotel to the garage to pick up my van. I was like, this counts as self-care, kind of, but it's kind of a creative way to make sure I'm getting my exercise in. Is instead of calling an Uber, I'll run. Now I'm getting my and it was very effective. It was, I forgot how many hills are between here and there, but it felt great. And it was kind of a well, yeah, this works. We got to get creative sometimes when we're in demanding times. So welcome, Nick. How's your
Hey, David.
how's your self-care going?
My self-care is going great from the rental car. Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
opening the door and closing it so I can get some fresh air so I don't bake in here.
Oh, that's a way to take care of yourself there, to make sure that you're getting the fresh air that you need so you don't have a heat stroke during your recording.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah, I mean, it's when we were starting the title, you're like self-care, and my thought was staying light in challenging times, which was self-care, really.
Sure.
And so I mean, we just flew in from California into the East Coast for a variety of things. Dad's health is active right now, I guess is one way to phrase it. And and so flying back here to be with family and see Dad in hospital or inpatient rehab, and
Super demanding time.
Yeah, and work and travel and biology and all those other things show up. Yeah, so I'm trying to figure out what is an exercise regime look like over the next 7 days, just to stay active in some way.
Yeah. And what space do you need yourself? Getting out for a walk,
Yeah,
what is it that you need to do to maintain your best self? And we often we just get in this push of okay, I got to take care of this, I got to take care of this, I got to take care of this, and it puts us in kind of a survival mode. It puts us in a real base operating, and none of it's ideal, and none of it ends up feeling good when we do that. Versus the
yeah,
idea of taking the time out to play. Last night, after looking at houses, going to the beach for a little bit, and sitting, that was nice to reset, to kind of go watch the sunset, and then come back and and get back to it. But it's so easy to skip that, right? It's so easy to just go, oh, you know what, I'm too stressed to relax, I'm too stressed to self-care, I'm too stressed to do the things that relieve the stress, that bring me into my best self.
With the animal communication, one of the examples I typically give people is how animals show up with mirroring and modeling behavior. And one of the modeling behaviors or mirroring behaviors that a lot of people may experience with their animal, I bring it back to this example where someone says, my dog is so lazy and he just sits on the couch all day while I play video games, right? And it's like, oh, well, that's what's happening here, right? And then we have the modeling behavior, and my little boy cat is a great example of this for my own self-care. Like every night he will cry to play. He'll want to play every night without fail. And the lesson in there for me is to get away from that grinding that you just described,
Mm-hmm.
and to go break away and play with a little laser with the
Mm-hmm.
cat, right? For 5, 10, 20 minutes, whatever it may be. And that just makes a world of difference.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's great.
And so what do you actually let's come up with a plan right now for you then, right? So you're here in this stressful situation
Yeah,
and you're at a relative's, you're about to move to another relative's. Uh
yeah.
so what are the opportunities for you right now to make sure that you're taking care of yourself, to make sure that you're like when you show up for dad and for the rest of the family there, that you're in your optimal place rather than dragging yourself in going,
Yeah,
um, yeah, yeah. What does that look
yeah,
like?
yeah. I mean, right now it's food, right? Like this,
Mhm.
the biology is all kinds of off with the flying and the eating schedule.
Mhm.
And so food is the first thing. My
Mhm.
wife's at the dentist, so we're gonna get food afterwards and just get the first meal of the
I'm gonna
day,
add the
which will be
dentist in. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, right, taking care of the teeth. So food will be someplace between 8 o'clock and 12 o'clock, depending on the time zone that my body is in, right?
Right. Right.
So I don't know what happened, and I don't know where we left off. But my phone started to shut down because of the heat in the car.
I was gonna say your phone overheated. I've had that happen a bit.
Yeah, I was fine. The phone wasn't fine, so I stepped
Yeah.
out for
Yeah.
some self-care on the phone.
Nice. Nice. Perfect.
So
Perfect.
so
So yeah,
so
we were just
food.
letting off here talking about food and so absolutely that's a basic thing. I relate to that very much after traveling. Like I said, I just got back from Europe in the middle of this move. I spent 2 weeks playing there, but at the same time self-care. And so you know absolutely that's like the basic stuff. That what about for you, like what does it do for you to get out for a walk, to get out and just move, to like does walking work, or do you need actual like full on like sweating type exercise?
I like to walk if there's some trees involved. I mean, for what we're talking about here,
Hmm. Hmm.
that'll be helpful. And even just being like we went to the dock last night,
Hmm.
in the Sound, and that was just lovely just to see the water just being super still. That was great. We
Yeah,
stopped at a
how long
state
did that take
beach.
to do that reset?
Minutes,
Hmm. Yeah.
minutes, not at all. Yeah, not
Right.
long at all. And it can be very easy to just get back in the car and get back to
Yeah.
traveling,
Push,
right?
push.
Push, push, push. And
Yeah.
even getting here, it's sort of funny how things show up sometimes. The LIE was just backed up, and that was easily the best route to take from a logical sense, except it was just so backed up.
Hmm.
So the GPS shot us south when we should be going north,
Right.
and we ended up going to one of the state beaches around here, which is gorgeous. It's gorgeous. Robin Moses Jones Beach area. It's a gorgeous place in the world. And so we got out of the car and went to the beach a little bit. I stuck my feet in the Atlantic and got a little sandy, and that was
Nice.
that was pretty
Yeah.
good. Yeah,
Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful. And so as you're getting ready, next step's going to see dad, right?
yeah.
And so what are the two scenarios? The one where you take care of yourself and the one where you don't. What does that look like?
The one where I don't take care of myself just is the down. It's a slow, slippery downward spiral that.
Where you're just
Uh,
holding on, gripping for as long as you can without like
yeah,
freaking on
yeah,
somebody.
yeah. Right. Yeah. Anyone. Right. It could be the person in the car next to me who just pulled up a little too close. Like it's just like because you're at that edge, right? Like it's just anything could just throw you off.
I need a
Or
volunteer. Any volunteer, you will do.
who wants to get too close?
This asshole just volunteered. Yeah.
And that's really on the road, like on a good day, because people's driving habits.
Yeah.
And then the opposite scenario is this conversation being very, taking the points in this conversation, being very mindful of them and applying
Yeah.
them,
Yeah.
right? And being intentional about the food, being intentional about the rest, being intentional about where can I go sit in the shade, where can I go to the beach, where are those pockets of self-care that show up that are
Mhm.
available, and
That
sometimes you have
can
to be
be
like,
5 minutes long or 3 minutes
it
even.
could be totally
Sometimes they're even
um
thoughts.
thought patterns, for sure, for sure. And I have a way easier time with the line living meditation connection in my own space, on my own count,
Mhm.
in my own clock, right, doing the thing that I typically do. And so when I'm traveling, um, it can be a little challenging to feel that same connection, which is demotivating for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And and I've also recognized that, well, that doesn't work out well.
No,
So
no.
even if the connection is not as what I want it to be, um, I equate it like to surfing. Sometimes like it's just not good, and you're out there. This happened in Costa Rica. Like, it was the first day I go out there. It's big and it's 20 minutes of sunlight, and I don't know the spot, and I don't end up catching a wave, and it's just like, oh, it's a training day, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just a training day. And so similar with the meditation, it's just like I'm not getting the result that I want, but also I know that I'm getting way more result that I want doing this versus avoiding it, or avoiding the pockets of the beach, or avoiding the pockets of the shade, or whatever it may be.
Yeah. And it reminds me completely of during COVID, so many of my clients, were in tough situations. And so one of the conversations we'd have a lot is, so looking at what's in front of you, what's the best of what's available? And when we
Yeah,
start realizing that we're getting the best of what's available, that actually feels pretty damn good, even when it's not great. But if we choose from the multiple choice bank that is a fantasy that doesn't really exist, now, I think things should be this way. I want things this way. Okay, that's not available. What's the best of what's available right now?
yeah,
And when we
yeah,
start thinking from
yeah,
that terms, because if we think about, well, I can't have that, we just shut down and go, well, I'm not going to pick the best of what's available because I can't have the best of what I want. And so then we don't
right,
choose the best of what's available. We choose probably the worst of what's available.
yeah.
And
I mean,
that
we're
reframing is huge.
totally. I mean, we're about to go to a diner, right? A great East Coast diner, for our first meal of the day, and there's going to be some options on there which aren't great, and are comfortable, based on history. Uh, and and I need to find the thing that is going to be best for my body for this trip, for now,
Yeah,
versus
yeah,
what I used to eat when I was 18.
yeah. The hash browns, can you pour that oil just all over it and then fry it
Yeah,
till it just is
yeah,
like
yeah.
saturated with oil and then
Extra oil, please. That's how it comes anyway.
throw
Oh,
some bacon and
okay.
sausage on top? Setting
Right.
myself up.
Yeah. It'll feel good. It'll feel comfortable at the time, and then and as soon as I'm done, I'm not going to feel good about it. So
Yeah,
make a better choice up front.
and that's a great part of self-care, right? A lot of people think self-care is I'm going to indulge in something that makes me feel good while I'm doing it, but then shitty afterwards. And that's not self-care, right? They're like, oh, I'm just going to go eat a bunch of crap because I feel like I need that for myself it's been a hard day. Not self-care.
Yeah,
It's indulgence and then paying for it, right?
yeah, yeah. I mean, jumping off a building can be a ton of fun, but the landing may be a little hard, right? And so you got to
Yeah.
think about that landing before you make the jump, or just don't
You,
make the jump at
you've
all.
come a long ways when that's your analogy to eating at shitty food at a diner. Just used to be a Saturday morning, but now it's like that feels like jumping off a building.
That is completely fair.
And it's, I mean, it's a really cool thing, right? Because when our baseline becomes so much cleaner, those fluctuations just really suck. Meaning that like when we let ourselves go off of our edge, off of our alignment, it's not just a like, oh yeah, I feel it's like, no, like I just lost my faculties because I'm used to
Yeah,
having this clarity, this cleanness inside me, this sense of where I'm going and who I am. And when that fades out, it's just like, oh, like my compass just broke.
that
And
is completely true.
yeah, and when we're before, it was like, oh yeah, I didn't really have a compass. I was just kind of like doing what's next. But when we have that clarity inside and it goes away because we didn't take care of ourselves or the circumstances pushed us and we didn't take care of ourselves,
Yeah,
it's super disorienting. And I've felt that a few times on this trip of like, shit, I got to get my compass back. And so what do
yeah,
I got to do? Um, because it's when there's a bunch of stuff stacked and something doesn't quite work out, it's that's the first thing that happens, right? We start to slide out of our alignment. And
Totally.
realize, and I think that if we've lived in alignment for a long time, when we slide out of it, it's just like this isn't going to work. Like this just isn't okay. But realizing for most people the baseline is outside of that, and that's just like, and we can all look back in our lives and go, that was just my operating system. For me, it was something that's now unacceptable and just doesn't work, because I need that level of guidance, because I don't want to undo all that I've created by being in that place of alignment.
Yeah.
And it's just unbearable in the moment.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm walking around, seeing things, driving around here, and it's very familiar, right?
Yeah.
The people, I've never seen them before. It's been 20 years since I lived here or whatever it is, and it, it's different now.
Hmm.
It's instead of, oh, it's another person who looks like that. It's this is how people are here,
Yeah. 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 It's a
right?
culture.
And yeah, and it's fine.
Hmm.
Um, and they haven't changed, and that's
Yeah.
okay. But I
Yeah.
have, uh,
Yeah.
right? And I can be here for, I'd rather not, for an extended period of time, um, without going back to the things I used to do, um, which are normal, right? Standard as
Yeah.
things go
Yeah. You're
for
supported to
everyone.
do them because it's normalized,
Yeah,
even
that's right.
though it's going to completely force you to let go of every way that you normally operate and all
Totally.
the
Oh
guidance you
man.
have.
Yeah. I mean, we were. Where do we walk? Where were we yesterday? I think we're in the airport, and we recognized the line from McDonald's, and like it was just so long, right?
Hmm.
And I mean, I've eaten at McDonald's, not in the past. I don't even know how long, but that's the normal, right? Like you can fall back into that normal if you want to, or you can go, that shit ain't for me.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, it's funny. I think in my book, I use that analogy of, when people look at you and go like, oh, what, like you're too sensitive to eat like whatever shit food it is. Well, yeah, and it's like when we fine tune ourselves, it's like thinking ourselves as like a Ferrari. Like you wouldn't just pull up and be like, yeah, I'll just put the cheap gas in, or, I'll go down that road with the potholes. Like, because it would get knocked out of alignment. Like the steering is so tight that you hit a pothole, you're going to have to get your steering aligned. That, you put shit gas in there, you skip an oil change, it's not going to go well. And, people want their body to be a Ferrari. They want their mind and their sense of operating system to be a Ferrari, but then they treat it like a Corolla, and like I get it. I did it for years, and Corollas are great, like you just put gas in them, you know. But what does that create? In what level do you want to be able to create your life at? And it does. It takes a really different level of self-care and identifying that and prioritizing that. We don't go, sure, my Ferrari's getting a little over on the oil change. I think I'll just skip this one. Corolla, you could probably do that 3 times in a row and it wouldn't make a difference.
That's
But on
true.
a Ferrari, you're probably gonna make some major problems inside yourself. And
It's a
so
different machine. Yeah,
it's a
different
different
machine.
machine. And so all this work that we're doing, we're talking about creating a different machine of our, like bring ourselves to a level of clarity that has a high precision to it. And anything that has a high precision to it takes a lot of self-care, and it has to be prioritized. You don't just let your Ferrari go like a Corolla, and you can't just let your life go, like you're eating at McDonald's every day. And it just doesn't work. And I think that's a very easy temptation under stress to do that to some degree. And it's the time that self-care is needed the most, and we just can't skip it. And so it's kind of funny that you and I are both in the situations where we're just being reminded, like, okay, self-care, right? No, self-care. Like, and I've found myself, doing the minimum a few times because of how much has been required to get this done, and
Yeah.
realizing like, it's funny, like I the first day of the trip I ended up driving just too far, too long. It was exhausted, and came out in the morning and there was a flat tire on the trailer that was pulling my truck, and I was like, all right, that's what's happening, and I didn't have too much of a response, so I'm like trying to get on, and then I was out in it was like 100 degrees or whatever, and I'm like going, and I ended up locking my keys in the truck of the cab because I had the keys to the storage unit in my hand. So I'm like, oh, you can really lock your keys in here. So I'm like, got my keys though, shut the door, and I looked down and there were the keys to the storage unit, not the keys to the truck. I'm like, shit. And I was like, this is me not like I pushed myself too hard last night, right? Like I'm used to being able to rely on myself. And I was like, yep, got my keys. Like I knew how to check that. I could see how somebody else might lock the keys in the car, but not me. And then I
Oh
looked down and
man, yeah.
the wrong keys, right? And huh, push myself too hard. This is what this looks like, you know? Now I'm not
When you
only
start,
calling to get the tire fixed,
yeah.
I'm calling the locksmith to get in the car.
But ideally, and you know what? I can't say I've never done sloppy, stupid shit, right? And you're like, what? Who just did that? And the only person to blame is you, right?
Looking around, it's just me here.
God
But this is what it
damn.
looked like when I
Yeah,
pushed myself too
yeah,
hard, right?
right. So if yeah, when you get there, you can get infuriated with yourself, or you can just go, okay, let's let's take a big breath, shall we? Because
Yeah.
it ain't gonna get better if we freak out.
Yeah. Time for some self-care.
Yeah, we're due for self care for at least 48 hours. Why don't we start now?
I could still stood up like on the because it's a big Penske truck that's way up in there. So I stood up like on the step and I'm looking in. I'm like, there they are. Yeah,
It can't
that's
be
the yellow
true. Yes, it
keychain.
is.
Shit, they're not in my pocket.
Yeah, I mean, I think you said or used the phrase minimum, right? It's as little as you can squeeze in, and that feels when you're used to 10 times the amount, that feels like it's not even worth it, and it's completely 100% worth it if that's what you have to work with, right?
Yeah, yeah. Best of what's available.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And then that changes. You lock your keys in the car. Now what's the best of what's available? You call the locksmith, you call the Penske to come fix the flat tire, and you go sit in the air conditioning in the hotel. That's the
Mm,
best of what's available, right?
mm,
Get something to
mhm.
drink, get out of the heat. And so sometimes we have to reassess our best of what's available, especially if we just screwed something up. Um,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah,
again, self-care. And to me, it was like, there's part of me that was kind of laughing at myself, but there's a part of me that was frustrated. And but it went right to, not, I can't believe I did that. It was like, I created this by not taking care of myself. I pushed myself too hard. I had to load the truck in the sun for 2 days. It was like 104 the first day and 97
yeah,
the second day. And I'm like, this is what it looks like. This is what you just did to yourself. And do better to yourself. Not like you're a jerk, you're an idiot, but treat yourself better. Um,
yeah. I mean, you sort of have to take that person where when all the things are right in your own environment and you can control all the factors, like that person is now operating in this very uncertain situation. So you still need to be that person,
yeah, yeah.
right? You don't get to be a different person. I mean, you can, but then you lock your keys in the van, or right? Uh, or you go eat the worst burger in the whole wide world at the diner and come out going, that was 100% awful. Who made that choice?
Yeah, because it
Uh,
looks appealing from a stressed place.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you can't throw yourself out with the situation. You gotta call upon yourself even more.
yeah, yeah. Timely conversation, right? I guess that's why we're intentionally having it.
Very timely.
So, it's funny. I woke up this morning, I'm supposed to have the moving truck back by tomorrow. And, I can pay $100 a day to hang on to it longer. But I was thinking that I had the place to move into that ended up falling through. And so now it's funny. Got up this morning, checked the listings. There's a new place to go look at. So I'm gonna go look at it shortly and see if this is the one, which, and again, that trust, right? Of like, well, this is going to work out. If not, I'm going to put stuff in storage and that'll work too.
Yeah.
But the best of what's available. And sometimes, like even if we backed ourselves into that corner, we still have to ask ourselves, what's the best of what's available? Or if we get there and stuff falls through, what's the best of what's available? And keep choosing from that menu, because if we try to choose from the menu of the best of what we wish was available, misery, right? And
Yes.
way out of alignment, and it doesn't work. I'd like to
No.
choose from, it's like going to McDonald's and saying, do you have that gluten-free, vegan, organic, like,
We do, Mr. Wallace.
you again? Stop going through our drive-through.
We changed our menu just for you.
I think you're in the wrong line. Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. Well, yeah, glad to see you outside under a tree. That looks much better than being in the car overheating with your phone overheating.
It was comfortable at the time, and then I got the nudge, which was the phone shutting down.
Yeah. So choose from the best of what's available. Now you're in some random person's yard underneath the tree.
Yeah. Yeah, well, yeah. I'm in the parking lot next to bamboo and the dumpster, and this is the better
Yeah,
place
you
to be
show,
right now.
show us the rest of the shot here.
So here's the bamboo. This is
Looking good. Looking
which,
good.
which is coming from all the way up there, right? It did its thing.
Yeah.
And over here, there's a wonderful
Oh,
view.
nice. Yeah, the dumpster's just that
Yeah.
view. So see, this is why you should be watching this on YouTube instead of on the audio platforms, right? You can see the
It-
reality of this.
yeah,
This
and it's
beautiful
better.
scene
It's
with the
better than being
fence
in the
and the
car.
tree. You chose the best of what's available out of the scenes instead of the dumpster or the bamboo coming off underneath the fence. Awesome. Well done.
Thanks.
Well, have a great week.
Thanks.
Good luck with everything with your folks, and yeah, self-care. So thanks everybody for listening and joining in on our own pep talk that we're having with ourselves, each other, and a reminder to take care of yourself and choose from the best of what's available. All right, have a great week, everyone.
Bye, folks.
We hope you enjoyed listening to today's podcast, and if you did, please subscribe so you can catch the next episode. If you want to learn more about the Aligned Living System and how it could support you in your life, check out davidwaldas.com.